Welcome to the Block Exploring podcast, your first step into the world of crypto and blockchain. The Block Exploring podcast is your one-stop place to find quick, clear, and unbiased information on everything in the crypto space. Our goal is to help you grow familiar with the crypto space by growing along with us as we go on our crypto journeys. Follow at Block Exploring on Twitter for our newest uploads and our publishing schedule. We, here at Block Exploring, are crypto enthusiasts working hard towards becoming experts. Today's podcast is presented by co-hosts Tommy and Elias. Find us on Twitter under @SabaiSquared and @OtokoCrypto. Right now you can find us on Spotify and YouTube. Before we start the episode, we would like to inform you that we are not financial advisors. Therefore, nothing said in this podcast should be considered financial advice. Always contact your financial advisor before making any investment. With that said, sit back and enjoy today's podcast. What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 24 of the Block Exploring podcast, News Bytes. Here with me is Tommy. We're going to be talking to you about everything that happened this past week, once again, in the crypto space. And this week was spicy, right, Tommy?
Yeah, today a lot happened. I feel like just today quite a lot happened. But yeah, a lot of big things happening in the crypto blockchain space, and the state of the market too is a bit of a spicy thing depending on who you are. You probably feel a different way about it.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it?
I don't know. If I'm looking at it now, I think this is an ideal time to buy anything. I feel
The dip, buy the dip.
Yeah, this is one of those standard buy the dip moments. I think that especially things like ETH are on discount.
Mhm.
There's a lot of good projects. There's, I think it's, what's it called? Aave is way below its usual price.
I know most of the DeFi projects are all like, I don't know, people maybe not too excited about them, but I think they'll come back. I mean, of course, no investment advice here.
Yeah.
No
but I think
financial
that
advice, but it
because of a lot of regulatory FUD, of course, that a lot of these DeFi projects have like dipped in a big way. Because
of course, what's crazy about the FUD? It's like it's the same old, same old. I feel like it's nothing new in terms of the SEC FUD, at least, and which we'll touch upon. But yeah, it's nothing new in my opinion. That's gonna seriously make me fuddy. Is that a thing? Fuddy.
Fuddy. No, but I agree. I think that there's, on one hand, there's of course stable coins that will be targeted heavily.
Yeah.
But I think that for a lot of DeFi projects, the main kind of difficulties that they might face will be KYC requirements, so know your customer, and that's the entire thing that the SEC is kind of going after. Criminal laundering of money. These kinds of things, making sure that there's no illicit capital gains, these kinds of regulations they want to enforce, and they're enforcing it in, I think, a misguided way by going after DeFi projects rather than, for instance, the providers of wallets. It would make much more sense for them to request, like, I don't know, like Trust Wallet or MetaMask or Huobi to just do KYC at the source, at the root of the financial part of this situation, the wallet. Whereas right now they're targeting just markets, which simply have wallets that link to them without the markets even knowing who is behind the wallet. It seems like a lot of misunderstanding of what DeFi actually is and how it functions. And I think
I definitely agree that there's sort of a confusion in terms of values as to what DeFi is and what it stands for. I don't know. I probably wouldn't be the biggest fan of KYC at the wallet source, because I don't know if KYC is the answer to these questions that SEC wants. But what the question is, like, what is it that the SEC want, right? It seems to me that the SEC wants more clarity from crypto projects, but they're not even. But how much more clarity do you want from a public ledger?
Yeah,
which is what a blockchain is. Everyone, a public ledger. The information is out there. You can definitely find ways of I mean, we have block explorers for a reason. You can go in anyone, Gary himself can go. We're on a first name basis. You know, he can go into the ledger. I mean, any block explorer himself and try to look at transactions and see what's happening if there's anything that looks sus. So it's a bit weird to me because I don't think they explicitly express that KYC is the only thing that they want from these projects, but he keeps fudding, but he speaks in broad terms, right? He always says like, we're looking to protect these, consumers from this, he uses such broad terms that, I feel like, to the non-crypto initiated, this is like, oh wow, why don't I just go back to my bank? But if you are initiated into crypto blockchain space, it's like, bro, what are you saying? Like, what are you even talking about? What do you want? You know what I mean? But yeah, that's my take on it anyway.
No, I agree. I also agree that I don't believe that KYC is relevant. I think the application of KYC in crypto also doesn't make a lot of sense. I think that the SEC should concern itself with the currency that it's supposed to regulate, and that is the dollar, right? So every transaction that goes from cryptocurrency into the dollar, I think that's where the line is drawn from where the SEC should be getting involved, not into cryptocurrencies, because crypto is tech. They're not a tech regulator. There is value in everything. The unfortunate part is that crypto has a lot of value and it doesn't have a big lobby when it comes to the American government or in general on a global level. There's not a big crypto lobby. There is a big pharma lobby. There is a big, like real estate lobby. These kinds of these sectors have developed a large lobby, and they make sure to target regulators. So you never get a crackdown on pharma or on, I don't know, like real estate moguls like Evergrande, but you do get a crackdown on high value, low lobby kind of projects, assets, so such as crypto. And I think that there's a big misunderstanding where the value of cryptocurrency resides. It's not just a competitor to the dollar, but it's so much more. It's just a new ecosystem that's being created.
But do you know what gets me, bro? It's because it's not that these regulators, like let's just say Gensler himself, isn't privy to the technological innovations that is enabled by blockchain technology. He taught at MIT, or maybe he still teaches at MIT, and he taught crypto and blockchain based courses. Like he knows that the power that these he knows on a technical level, blockchain and cryptocurrencies. I think where where he sort of diverts from the crypto native crowd is in the values, the values that most people are drawn to when they come to blockchain and crypto, and like how the values that I feel like majority of the crypto blockchain space, and maybe us too included, would like to see in our regulation on cryptocurrencies. And taking a very institutionalist approach that the SEC has tended to do, it's just not the move. It's not the move, because crypto is about tearing those things down for the most. I mean, not for the most part, but there's an element of that in blockchain, and crypto.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think it's also important to note that you see in America now, without making this discussion too political, but I think it is political to an extent, right? I think you see a lot of these things like tax the rich, blah, 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 right? But I feel like the one thing, the great equalizer, decentralization, is being targeted. So I see this major contradiction, right? Because I feel like if you truly want to stimulate wealth equality, or at least higher opportunity for it, you would promote decentralization, right? Because what is wealth? It's centralization of financial or asset power, right?
Yeah.
And if you decentralize that, you're bringing much more of this so-called like wealth equality to the playing field. You're enabling it to a higher extent. So I see all the regulators allegedly targeting this. I see like you see people like Bill Gates talking about dynastic wealth and like these things, we have to target them, but then they're anti-crypto. And it doesn't make sense to me, because right now this tech seems to be the most efficient way at achieving and granting higher opportunity to everyone when it comes to the managing of the world.
Hopefully it can benefit everyone, but
Yeah.
I think on that, I think mostly a lot of the regulators are still operating in sort of state-centric
Mm-hmm.
paradigm, right? And what crypto and blockchain allows, in my opinion, is a cross-border. It's not even decentralizing within the borders, of a
Mm-hmm.
state. It's about decentralizing and spreading equity across borders, like what I mean,
Yeah.
like where you see like people who in countries with hyperinflation hedging themselves using Bitcoin, for example, places like what's a good Argentina, is that Paraguay,
Argentina is a good one, yeah.
these
Yeah.
these places with hyperinflation. So it's like a cross-border movement in a sense, right? The crypto
Mm-hmm.
and blockchain, but where regulators are still very much stuck in their state-centric paradigm, and
Mm-hmm.
they're still very focused on the tools that they've had before, and they're
Yeah.
not privy to the tools that are there, and they're a bit scared. Let's be real. Like Elizabeth Warren is scared. She doesn't know what crypto is. I mean, it's very clear from the way she talks about crypto. Is she doesn't, I mean, have a clear idea about what crypto is about, and she wants to regulate it because that's what she's been doing her whole life, like
Yeah.
researching financial markets and that, and like trying to see how to regulate and quote unquote protect consumers.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think I heard this on another podcast today I was listening to, is that we need, like you were saying as well, like we need lobbying. We need a
Yeah.
pro crypto lobby, like we just do. And crypto is a mechanism to actually to generate funds for lobbying. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Absolutely.
I don't think there's a better mechanism, for to equitably draw on like the crowd for funding for regulation the crypto blockchain space would need or
Yeah.
want, that kind of thing. you know
Absolutely.
and we have unicorn companies step up to the plate, or we need people in legislation who are actually pro crypto, or crypto
Yeah.
natives specifically, not just pro crypto, but crypto natives. They're using DeFi products, they're into NFTs,
Mm-hmm.
they've held Bitcoin, they understand how to use MetaMask. You know what I'm saying? Like people who genuinely understand what's going on in the space, because then you can't be regulating something you don't understand. It's like because you're you're regulating it from just an like a loose playing, not playing field, but loose ground. I don't know
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
No, absolutely. I think it was Charles Hoskinson, right? He was also saying like we need a lobby, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that that's definitely something that like sure we can wait for mass adoption, sure we can wait for all these things, but I do believe indeed that a lobby would be highly beneficial, and
Yeah,
that's what you see also like the people at the SEC, they understand crypto. Like I'm
yeah,
sorry, these people are all graduates from Stanford, MIT, Harvard.
mm-hmm.
Like come on, they're not stupid. They can
Yeah,
understand the blockchain even if they're 70, even if they're 60.
yeah,
They have advisors, they have entire boards of advisors that are helping them propose this regulation. It's not like they're just like there and old.
mm-hmm.
It's not
Exactly.
like your grandpa is regulating the SEC. It's really someone with an advisory panel who's constantly backing him up and researching for them. It doesn't come from nowhere.
Yeah,
It's just willful ignorance.
yeah. Or it's just like, it's also just who is advising them at the end of the day. Is it people
Mm.
who are coming from a very you know establishment standpoint? They're going to toe the line for the establishment. Like, where do their interests lie? It's probably
Yeah,
with the establishment, right? For the
yeah,
most
no,
part,
exactly.
the SEC is very much an establishment institution.
Mm.
Most of their all these commissioners have worked in banks, or they've worked in various companies, or
Yeah.
they've worked elsewhere in the economy.
Mm-hmm.
um, and their interests probably lie in legacy institutions like banks and all that. So crypto is very disruptive technology. So people who are working in the SEC, coming from legacy, it's not a surprise that they have an adversarial approach. I mean, that's not everyone. There's like Hester Hurst, who's like a seemingly pro crypto commissioner. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, absolutely. I can definitely see that. Yeah. I'm talking about like how I think we can move towards more of an accepted practice of crypto use. I think that what I just said, we can wait for mass adoption all we want, but it needs to come from somewhere, right? And I think especially when you see large corporations like Coinbase and Kraken, I believe, and FTX start like demanding clear legislation, and you see like Twitter starting to verify NFT avatars for their users and allow for Bitcoin tipping, which is the second topic for today's episode. You can see that this kind of application, it's almost like lobbying by vocalizing as a company. It's saying we take this standpoint as a massive company, as a massive financial institution in America, especially America, because I feel like the majority of the regulation is being pushed and withheld in America.
Yeah, 100%.
And if you see these large corporations taking stands, that is also part of where this kind of institutional pressure towards the SEC, towards these kinds of regulators will come from. Yeah. And about that, NFT avatars will be now verified by Bitcoin. And I think that's massive. We were talking about this.
Not verified by Bitcoin, but Twitter.
Oh, by Twitter. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, Bitcoin. Satoshi is out here verifying each NFT.
Yeah, imagine like this Bored Ape. Yes.
Yes.
But I think, I think this is the biggest story coming out of Twitter crypto related news. Like, I mean, we all know NFTs are huge. NFTs will continue to be huge because NFTs are representative of, digital culture and digital assets. The mass use cases for NFTs are huge. But what I've also said in the past and what other people have said is that like NFTs are also your social proof for, for the metaverse. Because in real life, we all have like social proofs that, that give us access or some legitimacy in different spaces, right?
Yeah.
What's a good example? I mean, like, if you've been playing football for a while and then you go to a football club, you do some tricks, you have some like social proof, you have some legitimacy in that space that know what you're doing, right? Or do you have another example?
Yeah, dude, diamonds. It's I saw a great analysis. It was a Belgian newspaper, and the guy was writing about NFTs. I forget the name. But this guy said, people are making fun of people buying NFTs. Why would you buy a JPEG online? Okay, explain to me. Why would you buy a rock and put it on your finger, right? It's just crystallized charcoal or like charcoal under high pressure. But no, it's about what does the rock signify? Where, in what social setting does it place you? It places you as someone who is able to buy a shiny rock, right? And that means much more than just having a rock on your finger. And he says that's the perspective people should take on owning NFTs. It shows not just wealth, it shows understanding, it shows motivation, it can show things like political beliefs even, it can go much more deep than just owning a Bored Ape.
Yeah. We can take it one step further from like, physical objects that we've attached, meaning to, but we can take it a step further and think about all the intangible things in our world which have deep meaning, deeply, deep emotions attributed to it that people care so deeply. I mean, there's all kinds of intangible things that people care about, so so if you think about it like that, I mean, a digital asset which you can trade, you can move around, do many things with, is not that far of a stretch to understand why that's actually of value,
Absolutely.
But back on the thing the note that NFTs are your social proof into the metaverse, because that's what many people are working on, building a metaverse that just an online digital universe that runs parallel to our world. You can do all kinds of things in it. and these NFTs can act as a social proof, so to prove your social legitimacy within this metaverse, right? And this verification, NFT verification on Twitter, like, I think that just like increases the value of many NFTs by loads,
Yeah.
because it's already a flex to have certain NFTs as a profile picture. Like,
Absolutely.
it
It
is.
means you have more than 20 ETH sometimes. That's pretty insane. That's a
Dude,
pretty hard flex.
someone sold a Bored Ape Club. I mean, this was just a tweet I saw before we started recording that someone had sold a Bored Ape Yacht Club NFT for 50 ETH. I
Insane.
mean, that's worth more than some people's cars. That's worth more than some people's houses. So I mean, that's like the Rolex of the
No, exactly.
metaverse. But
Exactly.
so Twitter's making moves.
Twitter's making moves, and this Bitcoin tipping is also part of it, but we're
Yeah,
both a
yeah.
bit skeptical on who would actually tip Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, I think it might be just kind of a thing like, hey, how do you validate this to a board of trustees or like to a regulatory board within the company? You say, okay, the most legitimate cryptocurrency out there, Bitcoin. Well, that's the most well-known one, right? We're
Well, it
going to
has the most
integrate
social
that.
legitimacy, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly that. It has the
Mm-hmm.
most social legitimacy. It's not the most effective. I don't think it's the most efficient at all.
Oh, it's
This
not.
Lightning Network, Bitcoin Cash is a way better alternative for this tipping. So is Basic Attention Token. There's so
Sure.
many alternatives, but Bitcoin is the big one. Everyone knows about it. I think that's why it's being used.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, moving from the point of social legitimacy and social credits, so we stick
Sure.
within our new, more manageable timeline.
Yeah.
China. China has
Yeah.
decided to ban everything. When I typed China into Google this past week, I've seen China banning everything from reality TV almost to to crypto and to crypto trading. Now, crypto trading itself, it's been in the works for a while, right? We've seen mining, we've seen Bitcoin, we've seen use.
I mean, they've banned Bitcoin several times at this point.
Exactly. And I think they finally got, well, regulation through that fully bans the use of crypto exchanges. And that's combined with the entire Evergrande, the massive real estate conglomerate.
Mm-hmm.
One of the major things that has kind of caused this dip that we saw this past week, I guess, in the crypto market, and which has been kind of like maintaining this sense of FUD in the market. That's what I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I do
It's
want to
just,
give
yeah.
a small shout out to I was on the Three Pillars Gaming Discord talking to Izana about this last episode, and they had some really cool insights about China mining, Bitcoin, and Fed meetings. Thank you for that conversation. It was very enlightening, and it also gave me a bit of a new insight into the situation. So we've been seeing a lot of FUD about China banning literally everything. I don't think water is even legal in China at this point. But perhaps it's good. Perhaps it is good because what does this do, right? A ban. Remember,
It's
I
more
don't know,
Bitcoin for me. That's
it's more Bitcoin for us,
saying.
but it's also something like the prohibition.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yep.
alcohol prices in America were never as high as they were during prohibition. Now, China cannot stop the crypto revolution, right? They cannot stop Bitcoin, they cannot stop Ethereum, decentralized,
Mm-hmm.
right? But
Yep.
it's illegal, which means it will be harder to get. There will be more steps, which means that the value of the demand that we will be seeing from Asia, from China, regarding cryptocurrencies will be worth more.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's an interesting thesis.
yeah, that's a perspective that I shout out to Izana because he kind of pushed me to have that insight.
Okay.
And I think it makes a lot of sense, right? Because if something is harder to get, you want to pay more for it.
Yeah. It depends how much you toe the line in China, and to the CCP and all that. But I definitely I get the logic, based
Yeah,
on like previous similar examples in history.
yeah,
I would just be interested how that plays out. I mean, like we both hold Bitcoin,
yeah.
so either way, if it happens or it doesn't happen, like the way we are talking about it, it's just going to be an interesting thesis to see how it plays out.
Yeah. No, exactly. I think there's a bunch of multinationals, right, coming from China. There's also a bunch of super rich people who live in China who have assets outside of China and who are, you could consider them kind of above the law, right?
I mean, it's super easy to just get a wallet going. Like, it's so easy.
It's super easy. You
It's
have a
literally
VPN.
not. It's like, imagine like starting an offshore account. I mean, it's not even comparable, bro. It's like it's not even the same thing, but
No.
it's a multitude of times easier to start a MetaMask wallet and hold some, not Bitcoin, but yeah, you can hold wrap Bitcoin, but you can start a Bitcoin address anywhere, and hold Bitcoin, and it's much easier than what these super rich people do to hide their money offshore.
Absolutely. Yeah. But I think with that being said, right?
Yeah.
The discussion. We've spoken to you about everything important, at least the big picture of this past
It's hard
week.
to get everything, but
It's hard to get everything, but at least you got some insights, I think. And maybe we should do these more frequently. So like twice a week. I'm thinking about it. China bans everything. SEC creates FUD, and NFT avatars are being verified. Those are big movements. So stay tuned.
They are big.
Stay involved. Don't let this FUD get to you, and we'll see you next week on the Block Exploring podcast. Peace.
Peace.